one of my favorite mom YouTubers, or Mommacusses, was talking about how, like, when you're packing your kids' lunch, how it sort of devolves over time. And I made a comment about how, when I did my son's lunch, it went from like, organic cut with cookie cutter cut sandwiches and ended in me just like having a bunch of grapes and like some mashed potatoes in a container. And, like that's how that ended. But basically, I wanted to go into detail about the story because that situation led to, it was one of the many reasons I ended up deciding to homeschool my son. And so parents, I'm going to put the parenting the tag on here. So if you're new here, hi. My content is usually not parent-centric, but I am a parent, so I figured I would give y'all a little something. So when my son was in first grade, I was packing his lunch because we have a gene mutation. It's not a situation where he like has an anaphylactic thing, but it's one of those like build up over time problems with folic acid. Now we can have methylfolate, which is the stuff that comes in the plants, but the stuff that they do that they make in like pills and stuff, we can't really digest that properly. So we don't get the nutrients from folic acid that is in like stuff. We can't do anything with it, and it can be harmful over time. This is why when I went to sign him up for school and they were like, does he have any allergies? Does he have any of this? And it's like, I will be sending him with his lunch. I put it down on a little piece of paper. So first day of school rolls around, send him with his lunch, and it's these beautiful, it's fruit cut into pieces on sticks in a bento box with the cute little tea sandwiches that are, like organic bread and everything is great. And then, all this stuff, right? And so my son, I swear to God, he's either going to be like a villain or a politician. He tells the teacher, now this is first grade, mind you, so he's like 7. He tells the teacher that he didn't bring a lunch. And instead of them calling me, they signed him up for school lunch. Now, again, not to sound like one of those like snowflakey moms or like a crunchy granola mom, but he did have a gene mutation. He really shouldn't be eating stuff with a folic acid. Anything brightly colored for children has folic acid in it. Go look in your grocery store the next time you go. Look at how much folic acid is in stuff. No one calls me. Nobody calls me and tells me this shit is happening. And now I look back and I'm like, if you thought I wasn't sending my child to school with a lunch, why the fuck wasn't like child services called? You know what I mean? Who the hell thought it was like, yeah, no, we're just going to stick him on a lunch plan, give him a tab, and then go from there. Well, I guess somebody forgot that they did this or whatever, because he just kept doing it. And I thought it was weird because he was putting on a lot of weight, which was fine because he was super underweight, and like, I'm not going to shame my kid for his weight. He's beautiful and I love him. And he's, usually very thin, but he was putting on a lot of weight. And I was like, well, this is weird. That was my only indication that something was off. That was my only indication. And 6 or so months in, I'm done with the whole bento box packing the lunch thing, right? We're past the cut sandwiches and the cuteness, and I have gone full into like a jewel bag of like grapes and like a container of mashed potatoes. Okay, like we're at that point with the packing of the lunch because he's lost his bag, his lunch bag, he's lost every container that I said. Like he just fuck it, And so I get a call when I'm at work, and it's the school, office. And I'm like, hey, is everything all right? Is Jack okay? And they say, hey, Mrs. B, we need you to pay your son's lunch tab. It's getting pretty big. And I was like, what lunch tab? I didn't sign him up for school lunch because he has a thing. She was like, well, he's had lunches this whole time at school. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean he's had lunches this whole time at school? Because like, I've run into this issue before where people don't take me seriously on stuff. We didn't know early on. When my son was born, we didn't know if he was allergic to chocolate. And his father was allergic to like anaphylactic allergic to chocolate. Okay. Could not have. So when his first Easter rolls around, when he's a bitty bitty baby, we tell my grandmother, do not give him chocolate because we don't know if he's allergic or not yet. Because like, you're not supposed to be giving itty bitty babies chocolate anyway, right? Well, she shoves a fucking chocolate bunny in his mouth for a picture. And I flipped out because again, nobody was taking me seriously. So like, I'm having that memory just like crop up in my brain when I'm talking to this poor school person. And I was like, my son is not supposed to be eating certain things. Like He's not supposed to eat anything with folic acid in it. What the heck is happening? And like, I'm like panicking because, you know, it's not that big of a deal, little bits at a time, but it's the fact that if he's not getting it from the right sources, he's not digesting it. It's not, you know, the vitamins aren't doing what they're supposed to do. I'm having a whole ass like, oh my God moment. And then I realize this kid has been double timing me with the school lunch lady. So like he's literally been like, okay, mom, thank you, love you, taking his lunches to school and then eating them and then getting lunch as well. And I was like, I almost felt like I had been cheated on, which is stupid, I know. But yeah, this kid was getting this whole ass extra lunch, which I'm fine with, except for the fact that like, if I had known he was getting a whole extra lunch, I would have been like, hey, bud, maybe we don't take the lunch to school. And then we just, you know, we have our vitamins with our breakfast so that like the vitamins have a chance to like work their way into your system before you get there. That way everything is in place before you before you get to the food and eat the stuff that shouldn't, because like it's a whole thing. Look up MTHFR, okay? It's shitty, but also not necessarily harmful short term, but long term it can be linked to like strokes and heart disease and all this other stuff. So I'm like trying to parent carefully. So anyway, it's $175 that this kid has racked up in food costs with this school, and nobody called me until now. And this is one of the reasons why I decided when I moved out of Illinois to homeschool, because we can't trust in the school system as a whole to do the things we need to do for our son. So I ended up having to pay $175 to this school thing, and then like I put some money on it so he could continue having the lunches the rest of the year. And I had a talk with him, you know, when he got home, he like toddles in the door, and I was like, so I just got a call earlier today from your school about how you've been telling them that you don't have lunches so that you can eat more lunch. And he just he had that look of like somebody who was caught cheating. He was like, I'm sorry. I want to eat lunch like the other kids. And I was like, that's fine, bud. But we have like, there are steps that we have to take so that you can do that, you know? And he was like, okay. And so like, he was like, but you'll still pack me lunches, right? Because I like the mashed potatoes. So I was like, I'll still pack you a lunch, but it's not going to be as much lunch if you're going to be eating lunch at the school. And he was like, okay. So yeah, it was a whole thing. That was the time that my son scammed the lunch lady and got extra lunch and made me look like a monster. That's my thing. It's like, I don't look good in this situation. And it was of no fault of my own. Like, nobody called me until it became a financial problem. Nobody called anybody else to like be like, hey, we should check on this kid. Like, nobody contacted anybody. Like, I felt so bad when I like got off the phone with the person at the office. It was insane to me that they didn't like contact me at all. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through, like and subscribe, and I will probably pepper in more parenting videos as things go on about how I homeschool and all that stuff. All right, so I love you all. Have a great day, and I will see you later.